Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gaming Telecom video. We just have to discuss a piece of news coming from AMD. There's a lot of panic and confusion of what this actually means, but AMD have announced that they are going to be forming the Radeon Technologies Group. This effectively means there is going to be a dedicated graphics division headed up by Raja Koduri. He is actually a former ATI veteran. He did move over to Apple for just a short time, and then he was brought back to AMD. So is this a good thing? That's, I guess, the question on everyone's mind. Actually, yes, in my opinion, and we're going to go into why that is. So let's kind of discuss the structure and why AMD are doing what they are doing. So this actually comes to us from a report, an official report of course, a press release from the company. So the Radeon Technologies Group is going to be headed up by Raja Koduri. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He, as I said, was originally part of ATI, and he was directly responsible, one of the engineers behind creating a DirectX 9, well, one of the first GPUs utilizing DirectX 9. That's actually more accurate. He didn't develop the API, but he produced one of the first GPUs to actually feature a full DirectX 9 feature set. This is back when ATI, of course, weren't merged with AMD. So anyway, now he is being made the chief architect of Radeon Technologies Group, and his job now is to report directly to the CEO of AMD, known as Dr. Lisa Su. She is, of course, the senior vice president inside of AMD. So this is actually a really good thing, because what this means, at least in my opinion, and it's quite it basically demonstrates that AMD are really trying to put emphasis back on the graphics technology. Because here's the thing, right now the PC industry is in a boom, it really is. By all means, there are multiple reports from multiple different companies that are saying, you know what, that PC gaming is kind of on the up, and it is. There are problems with the PC industry as a whole. For example, you know, the lower end office-based systems are becoming it's a lot harder because you're getting a lot of tablets, but when it comes to like high-end gaming devices, the PC industry is doing really well. So for gaming, for example, on high-end usage, the GPU market in particular is doing extremely well, because you've not only got gaming, of course, which is utilizing GPUs, but you've got GPU compute, and this is even down to exporting videos, for example. Anyway, so AMD are going to be doing some restructuring, and with this restructuring, it's effectively, I suppose, it's going to be giving the graphics division some bite back into AMD. It's going to give them their own voice, their own soul, their own heart, and this is a good thing. AMD have been on a bit of a roll. Their sales figures for their GPUs have definitely been lower than what they would like. Although the reports that they have around 20% market share, you've got to remember, are before the Furies launched. And to be totally honest with you, we don't know what the market share will be, you know, in the next quarter. But in terms of the hearts and minds of many people, I think AMD have definitely had a couple of kudos recently, primarily because of DirectX 12, and we know Vulkan as well. And even Robert Halleck has recently said, you know what, the majority of DirectX 12 titles which are coming out in both 2015 and 16, so in other words the immediate future, are going to be partnering with AMD, which makes a lot of sense. So in my opinion, this is a good thing, because we've got new technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, which are starting to become a thing as well. And indeed, let's read some of the press release from Dr. Lisa Su. We are entering an age of immersive computing, which will be surrounded by billions of brilliant pixels that enhance our daily lives in ways that we cannot yet fully comprehend. AMD is well positioned to lead this transition with graphics IPs that power the best gaming and visual computing experiences today. With the creation of the Radeon Technologies Group, we are putting in place a more agile, vertically integrated graphics organization focused on solidifying our position in the our position as the graphics industry leader, recapturing profitable shares across traditional graphics markets, and staking leadership positions in new markets such as virtual and augmented reality. Now obviously that is a lot of PR speak, which is fair enough because that's kind of the deal of being really just impressed with statements. But AMD have created a lot of really cool technologies. Obviously they were instrumental in high bandwidth memory too, which is going to be... At the moment HBM is nice, but it's not, oh my god, we need it. We're at this kind of intermediary stage. This is back when, say, DDR2 was becoming a thing, and even DDR3 to DDR4 at the moment. Yeah, it's nice, but it's not, oh my god, if we don't have this, your CPU is going to be massively held back. But, you know, next generation GPUs, so obviously you've got the Arctic Islands from AMD, and, you know, NVIDIA's latest GPUs as well, which are known as Pascal. Now obviously we don't know the performance of those cards, but from the rumours and the speculations and the information in particular NVIDIA have given out, it's going to be quite profound. It's not going to be like, oh, this is like 10%. It's not going to be basically a rebrand. It's going to be better than Maxwell. I'm not saying Maxwell's a rebrand. Obviously there are drastic performance improvements over like power, but those GPUs are also going to be much more compute orientated also. What I'm basically saying is that I personally feel that this is about the best move AMD could make at this point. There's going to be 3 business groups now inside AMD. There's the Radeon Technologies Group, which obviously is, well, focused on the GPUs. You've got the Enterprise and Embedded Semi-Custom Group, which is actually hosted, or headed rather, not hosted, and it's pretty powerful guy actually, pretty knowledgeable guy. He used to be responsible for the Dell servers, and his name's Forrest Norrod. And then finally, you've got the Computing and Graphics Group, which is most likely going to be renamed because it doesn't make sense to be known as Computing and Graphics, since obviously they're primarily going to be responsible for CPUs and APUs. And that's actually being headed by both an ex-Intel and IBM employee. His name would be Jim Anderson. Now, Jim is heading up, of course, and more specifically the computing group are going to be implementing Zen. So obviously it's not like, oh, the Radeon Technologies Group is going to be doing its own thing. They are still going to be working for the greater good, which in this case are like APUs and integration of those compute units into those APUs for like high-end servers. And of course they will be no doubt responsible for producing semi-custom chips, and those chips of course will be found in like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One currently, most likely, at least according to what we understand, given a press release way back in the day. It certainly hints that AMD will also be responsible for Nintendo's GPUs. It's kinda cool, in my opinion. I think this is about the best thing that they could do at this point. So I'm going to leave you with the words through Koduri himself. He said, and I quote, AMD is one of the few companies with engineering talent and IP to make emerging immersive computing opportunities a reality. Now with the Radeon Technologies Group, we have a dedicated team focused on growing our business as we create a unique environment for both the best and brightest minds in graphics to be part of the team redefining the industry. I personally, I'm pretty excited. I want some new, a good kick in the butt for the GPU industry. It's been a bit stale for some time, and I have been rather excited about Pascal. I have been rather excited about Arctic Islands. So let's hope that 2016 is going to be a large kick in the butt for the PC industry as a whole, and technology for the whole. We've got Vulkan, we've got DirectX 12, which obviously is going to enter full swing. We've got high bandwidth memory 2, which is going to be a significant departure from HBM1. HBM1, you can kind of be approaching the bandwidth if you've got a wide enough bus and you don't mind spending the money with a GDDR5. Like if you've got 512-bit bus with a fast enough GDDR5 clock and you don't mind spending the silicon, you can approach HBM1. But HBM2, not so much. It's 1 terabyte per second. That's insanity. So let's say we've got really high power, really well-developed silicon by next year. Obviously, we're getting some die shrinks as well, which is going to make some significant improvements in both power reduction, because obviously it requires less energy to use a smaller GPUs. Plus, obviously, with GDDR5 not being a thing, that's going to drastically reduce the power consumption as well. So we've definitely got some really exciting stuff coming in the GPU market, and 4K monitors are finally starting to come down. It should be pretty cool. I really want to see what happens over the next couple of years, so hopefully this can make AMD considerably more competitive in terms of sell-through to the customers, because ultimately that's what really matters. I would like them to be bigger, I would like them to have more swing, which is kind of a shame, because Nvidia have definitely done a lot for the industry. They really have. I love Nvidia's products. They are fantastic for the most part. Their drivers are rock solid. They've done absolutely fantastic things for the industry, and without Nvidia, we wouldn't have quite the industry that we have now. But the same definitely could be said for AMD, and that's what makes the industry really good. Like, for example, back in the day when the 9800 Nvidia and Nvidia had to respond, and there was all that stuff going on back in the day, it made for some really good, great products, some really great movements in the industry. And even with Intel versus AMD, when at the moment we've got Intel being rather, I'm going to say, idle, to be totally honest. They could have added more CPU cores, they could have improved the performance of what they've got. Like, for example, we heard about the EDRAM fiasco, well, not fiasco, but EDRAM definitely would have improved Skylake's performance, for example, but they just didn't include it for reasons we just don't know. But back when Intel and AMD were going fully at it in the early days of like the 64-bit and even the Athlons, to be honest, like the Athlon 750, everyone wanted that sucker. It made for some really, really good cheap systems. Like, for example, there were so many people who would buy like the Celerons or the Durons for like a cheap Quake system. Anyway, I'm going slightly off topic, so I'm going to leave these before I go well off the beaten path. But for now, I think this is the best option. Hopefully, it does AMD some good in the market share, and more to the point, it can be, well, seen for us customers as a good thing as well. But for now, I'm going to leave you to it. Take care. Bye for now.